welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 9-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Excited to get into the breakdown, but before we do, a quick reminder, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. YouTube continues to tell me that about 50% of my audience is subscribed to my videos. I know there's hundreds of people a day watching these videos, so if you could take 1 second to do that, that would greatly help me out. It's going to help me grow my channel, something I've been working towards for a while. And don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. And lastly, if you are interested in some premium content, I do offer that. That's linked below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own MLB DFS lineups. So with that being said, let's go to start breaking down this slate today. Help you guys win some money tonight. And I like to do that by sorting my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Chris Ellis taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Keep in mind, he only has a 7 innings pitch sample size, so not the biggest sample size in the world. Has featured a 34.5% K overall with a 33.3% K rate to righties and a 36.4% K rate to lefties. Doesn't get the easiest opponent tonight for sure, taking on Toronto. Never going to be an easy case. And then when you're looking at, his game logs and everything, as far as his pitch count's concerned, he's been right around 38 pitches, 62 pitches, nothing too crazy. He's not really going too deep into these games. So, I'm not really sure that if we can really continue to target him unless we see some news reported that he's expected at some more pitches. He's 5'9" on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, they have him priced at 5'7". So if we get some confirmation that he's going to be stretched out, maybe we can take a risk. But I mean, let's be honest, the Toronto Blue Jays offense is very good. They have a 6.22 implied run total. It's a little scary for me to be going to. I think the top option today would be that in Corbin Burnes, strictly from a strikeout aspect. Probably not the best matchup in the world, taking on the San Francisco Giants. He does have a 34.4% K overall with a 16.2 swinging strike rate, a 36.9% K rate against righties, and a 32% K rate against lefties, as well as very impressive numbers across the board as far as like hard contact, WOBA, and slugging. So Corbin Burnes has been the real deal this year. And the only problem, like I said, is his opponent. But he's in San Francisco. It's one of the best pitching ballparks in the league. Pulling up the diagram that I always like to show you guys as far as ballparks are concerned in San Francisco. We can see that there's a lot of red going on there as far as home runs. Does a great job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. And for that reason, I really like targeting pitchers in San Francisco. And it's only going to be 61 degrees, so they're not the best hitting weather. While there's 11-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, the stadium is actually designed to minimize the impacts of wind as well. So Corbin Burnes got to be in a great spot here. He's a 148 favorite. The question is whether he's really in a great spot compared to the next two guys we're going to talk about, because we have Robbie Ray taking on the Baltimore Orioles and Zach Wheeler taking on the Washington Nationals. Both going to be pretty good matchups for these guys. A lot better than having to take on the San Francisco Giants. 31.6% K overall with a 15.4 swinging strike rate for Robbie Ray, a 31.2% K rate against righties, and a 33.1% K rate against lefties. And has been very good across the board as far as hard contact, slugging, and all that stuff. Against righties, he can give up a little bit of hard contact. But knowing Robbie Ray over the years, he's been a lot more in control, a lot more in command, and he is, as mentioned, a huge favorite earlier. A 312 favorite, expected to get the win very easily here, which, of course, we always like to get that win when we're targeting our pitchers in our daily fantasy sports lineups. 312 favorite, he's 10-9 on FanDuel, and over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 9-7. Has been pitching very well as of late. Last 2 games, he's had 11 and 14 strikeouts on 110 pitches approximately in each game. 7 innings pitch and 8 innings pitch. That's just tremendous stuff. That's definitely going to make you happy. He's going deep into games. He's getting lots of strikeouts. He's not allowing a lot of runs. Obviously going to be a great play. And I think Zach Wheeler is going to be a great play as well, taking on the Washington Nationals, and now washed up lineup. There's no more Trey Turner in there. Zach Wheeler's been really good all year long. He's a good strikeout rate, great ground ball, fly ball stuff, very reliant on a sinker ball, so he does a great job of keeping the ball on the ground with a 28.7% K rate against righties and a 29.4% K rate against lefties. He definitely has been getting the job done. And then when you break down his opponent today in the Washington Nationals and the Vegas lines, he is a 180 favorite. I expect to get the win here, taking on this Washington Nationals squad that, as I had mentioned, looking at their lineup up and down, Lane Thomas, Alcides Escobar, Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Yadiel Hernandez. There's no more Kyle Schwarber in there either. As I mentioned, Trey Turner, no more Schwarber, Carter Kieboom, Ruiz, and Luis Garcia at the bottom of the order. Not nearly as effective as a lineup as they were earlier in the season. And I definitely have interest in Zach Wheeler. Luis Garcia taking on Seattle. They're another team that we could really be targeting. He's a little bit wild in the walk rate. He does give up some fly balls. He does have a 30.7% K rate against righties, though, and a 26.9% K rate against lefties. So if you want to go to Luis Garcia tonight, taking on the Seattle Mariners, I wouldn't call you crazy whatsoever. It's also in Seattle. It's a great pitching environment. He is a 159 favorite. Expected to get the win here. That's always great to see. And once we get down past those guys, I mean, those guys are definitely the top of the line options on the slate today, I would say. Andrew Heaney is expected to be a long reliever taking on the Los Angeles Angels, and Corey Kluber is expected to be back for the Yankees, so they're going to kind of double up. Unfortunately, that disqualifies Heaney for the quality start on FanDuel, so that's a little bit of a downside. You know, Kluber has a pretty good inning, though, and they're able to get through this lineup. I do think there's a lot of K upside taking on the Los Angeles Angels. They have been striking out a lot this season, and as of late, a lot. So I think that a guy like Andrew Heaney, who's very reliant on his strikeouts, he can't get blown up a ton of time, but with his taking on a team that strikes out a lot, he can really perform well. I like him a lot, and I think German Marquez taking on the Texas Rangers is another guy that is in a great spot tonight. Texas Rangers lineup, another lineup that's really been struggling as of late, really watered down, have traded off a bunch of guys, just not good. A 25% K overall for German Marquez. Great ground ball, fly ball stuff. A 30.7% carried against righties and a 20.3% carried against lefties. So he does have approximately about a 10% higher clip against righties as far as strikeout rate. So we do prefer to target him against very right-handed heavy lineups, if at all possible. When you're looking at the Rangers lineup up and down today, they're expected to have quite a few righties in there, quite a few lefties. Actually, a little bit of a blend. But overall, they're just kind of a weak opponent. He's a 158 favorite. And they're taking on a call-up in AJ Alexy. They're expected to get the win here. And then once we get past him, things really start to kind of die down as far as my interest is concerned. I'm not really looking to target any of these guys. So, pretty solid pitching core tonight. I really would be looking to those guys. We have Jose Quintana taking on the New York Yankees. He's another guy I would mention lastly. The Yankees do strike out a lot, but he gives up a ton of hard contact to righties. Has been very, very sharp against lefties. The Yankees have added a few more lefties to their lineup than what they had earlier in the season. So, maybe they have that going for them as far as Quintana. If he starts, there's also a possibility that this could just be a bullpen game for the Angels. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the Vegas lines. I have a feeling that the Yankees on the road in LA will be a great stack tonight based on their run total. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But let's go ahead and transition over to those bats as a whole on this slate today. And the top guy to target is going to be Tyler Gilbert taking on the San Diego Padres. I like to sort my sheet by Sierra, skill, interactive ERA. Worst to best is a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in the season and how good they're expected to be in the future. And Gilbert is the worst. Ground ball, fly ball stuff, hard contact stuff. A 375 slugging, give it to righties. Has been very good against lefties. He's a left-handed hurler himself. But against righties, he's been giving a lot of hard contact, a lot of slugging. He literally threw a no-hitter, and his underlying metrics still look very, very bad. There was a lot of hard hit balls in that game from the data set here. And the Padres are expected to really perform here, and they're in Arizona, which is a great hitting environment as far as the chart. Pulling it up, it's definitely going to be a ballpark upgrade compared to playing in San Diego for these guys. And Chase Field's definitely a field you can be targeting with offense. So it's really going to be the right hand of power. Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Tommy Pham, Will Myers, Austin Nola, Jurickson Profar. Have interest in all those guys. Of course, number one and number two options being Tatis and Machado. They really rake off lefties, just elite talents across the board. And then if you want to mix it up in tournaments, put Eric Hosmer in there, put Jake Cronenworth in there, lefty on lefty. If they can get Gilbert out of the game early, get to that Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen. The Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen has been arguably the worst in the league according to my bullpen data sheet. So I love targeting that Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen. The Padres are on the road. They get that guaranteed ninth inning at bat. I think it's going to be a great stack for you to target today. We have Chris Flexen taking on the Houston Astros. His ground ball, fly ball stuff really hasn't been the greatest on the season. He has only have a 15.9% carry against righties. That's not good. And only a 17.4% carry against lefties. He has been a lot better against lefties than righties as far as hard contact is concerned, though. Righties, he has not been good. So we're really going to have some interest in some Houston righties tonight for sure. Guys like Jose Altuve, Yulieski Gurriel, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, Jake Myers, and Martin Maldonado. Tons of power. And while he has been really good against lefties, when you have elite hitters like Brantley or Alvarez and Tucker, I have no issues with targeting them either. It's in Seattle, keep in mind, not the best hitting environment, but I do think that they're a pretty decent stack tonight and the one that you can't just write off. Luis Patino taking on Boston. Ground ball, fly ball stuff has been terrible. Hard contact stuff has not been the greatest. He gives up a 378 slugging to righties. He has been a lot better against righties than lefties, where he's giving up a 457 slugging with a 368 WOBA. So, really like to target him with left-handed bats, and the Boston Red Sox definitely have some great left-handed bats that we can go to tonight. The only problem is it's in the Trop in Tampa Bay. It's not the best hitting environment, and when you're looking at the Red Sox run line, it tells you that they're not expected to really perform that much. So they only have a 4 implied run total. This is an AL East division game, so some big games expected. Both teams are probably going to throw their best pitchers out there, so maybe not as high scoring as you typically would see these offenses put up. But I do like the lefties in Schwarber, Devers, Verdugo in this matchup, as well as Jarren Duran. Don't be afraid to target them. And of course, you can stack up the whole Red Sox lineup with those righties in there with JD Martinez, Sander Bogaerts, Lee Towns, the Bobby Dahlbeck continues to crush the ball. Just keep in mind the Rays have a pretty good bullpen. Patino's been a lot better against righties than lefties. And if you want to go to the Red Sox, I want to call you crazy, but I don't think they're the best stack on the slate, especially when we have the team in the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on Drew Smyly. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's not good. Hard contact stuff's not good. He gives up a 460 slugging to righties, a 505 slugging to lefties. And I definitely have some interest in this Dodgers offense tonight. They have a total that's approaching 5 runs. The Braves bullpen isn't good, and definitely think they have some guys in their lineup that can take advantage of Drew Smyly. Trey Turner, Justin Turner mashes off lefties. AJ Pollock mashes off lefties. Chris Taylor mashes off lefties. We're starting to see Will Smith produce off lefties. He's always been a guy that we've said don't play against lefties, play against righties. He has traditionally been a lot better against righties, but I've seen him hit a couple home runs now at this point off lefties as of late. Hitting more towards the bottom of the order. Maybe that's taking some pressure off him. Maybe he's just getting more accustomed to hitting off left-handed hurlers, but I think I'm starting to get more comfortable playing Will Smith against lefties, so no issue with that. And you can definitely play Max Muncy, Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, lefty on lefty, because as mentioned, it's not like Drew Smyly's really been dominant against lefties either. He's actually been worse in the slugging category, so no issues with the Dodgers. Really like them. And Johnny Cueto taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. He's really not been that great as far as his underlying metrics. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's bad. He gives up a 436 slugging to righties, a 465 slugging to lefties. Another guy that really has struggled against left-handed power. And the Milwaukee Brewers definitely have some lefties you can target. The problem is it's in San Francisco, as mentioned, not the best hitting environment. They only have a 4.06 implied run total. You can get them alone if you want to go there, sure. Honestly, the fact that it's 61 degrees in San Francisco is enough to tell me I don't really want to target this game. Like, weather's a big thing, and when you're targeting other games where it's like mid-80s, even mid-70s, when it's like borderline 60 degrees, or there's games with domes like Seattle, Arizona, Texas. It's just one of my rules in DFS. If the hitting weather is that much of a discrepancy from the other games, I don't really like targeting it. So target the Milwaukee Power lefties if you'd like. Maybe Yelich hits 2 bombs tonight, and you say, haha, who cares about ballparks? But I have a feeling I won't be going there. Nick Pivetta taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. He's a guy that does give quite a bit of hard contact, although he has some good K stuff. He does give about 426 slugging to righties, a 395 slugging to lefties. Has actually been worse against righties this year, but overall, the Tampa Bay Rays lineup is just really good. I think they have a good enough lineup to where we can write off the stadium and still stack them up. Hopefully, they get some low ownership. And I think they could really get to Pivetta here. Brandon Lau, Nelson Cruz, Wander Franco, Austin Meadows, Randy Arozarena. No issues with you going to the Rays whatsoever. It's just the ballpark. It's not the ideal, but the Red Sox bullpen's also been pretty bad. And the Rays just have a really good lineup, and I feel comfortable targeting them, so no issues with that. And then as we go along here, we could talk about every single team. I'm trying to really narrow it down as far as where we really would target. Hosea Gray's been really bad against righties. The Philadelphia Phillies, you could take him on. I mean, he hasn't been that great against lefties either. The hard contact's been a problem. He has a high strikeout rate, but the hard contact's been an issue, so the Phillies definitely have some low strikeout guys like Gene Segura. They don't have to worry about striking out quite as much, that you could be a great target in this matchup because of that. And also just overall the lineup up and down. I think this is a great hitting ballpark in Washington. Pull up the diagram as far as Washington is concerned. You can see a lot of green going on. Great for home runs. Great for pretty much everything except for triples, which even then the data doesn't show that it's that bad. It's below average, but Nationals Park still great to target. And this lineup's definitely going to be in play. The Washington Nationals bullpen isn't great either. Herrera, Segura, Bryce Harper, Didi Gregorius, Angel McCutcheon, Brad Miller, Freddie Galvis. No issues with either of them, all of them, 1 through 7. And Rafael Marchand, the catcher spot, if you need a catcher option, he's salary relief. But I think the Phillies are going to be a pretty great stack tonight. And we also have the Yankees righties I mentioned against Katana. He's given up a bunch of hard contact to righties. Honestly, it's going to be a great spot for the Yankees right-handed hitting if he does start. Still to be determined. If it's a bullpen game, I'm going to like the Yankees lineup up and down, even more the lefties. But If it's Quintana, you know, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, Gio Urshela, Velasquez, DJ LeMahieu, they're all going to be great plays. Of course, Judge and Stanton with the power bats in the middle, you're going to really want to target, but would like all of them. And Andrew Heaney, as far as a relief role, you could play the Angels righties. They really don't have a lot of power. Phil Gosselin would be the guy I'm looking to. Justin Upton would be the guy I'm looking to. Max Stassi, Joe Adell. But other than that, there are a lot of contact hitters, so I'm not getting too excited about the stack. And yeah, that's a pretty good overall breakdown of the slate and who I'm looking to target tonight. Chris Ellis sticking on Toronto. His underlying metrics look pretty good, but his hard contact stuff has been bad. He's given up a 471 slugging to righties and a 500 slugging to lefties, even though he has a 30+ K percentage. Once again, that's only a 7 innings pitch sample size. The Baltimore Orioles bullpen is terrible, and I'm sure the Toronto Blue Jays are going to get a bunch of ownership, and for a good reason. So I definitely like them, especially if George Springer is expected to be back, which it does look like he's going to be. That's going to be a big addition to the lineup, another big bat that you can be targeting in your stacks. Springer, Semien, Guerrero, Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez, Corey Dickerson, Kirk, Gurriel, Kevin Smith. Really like everyone in that lineup outside of Kevin Smith, but if you really need the salary relief, I wouldn't even mind playing him. And yeah, can't forget to mention those Blue Jays. I'm sure that's more of an obvious spot for people, but if I don't mention it, I get yelled at. So Toronto Blue Jays, definitely a great stack. And with that being said, before I let you guys go, got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Justin Turner taking on Drew Smyly. I mentioned his hard contact issues overall, absolutely an issue. Ground ball stuff is not good. Fly ball stuff is not good. He gives up a 460 slugging to righties. He only strikes them out at a 20.8% clip. And we know historically Justin Turner absolutely mashes left-handed pitching. And then when you break down the repertoire that Smiley's relying on, very reliant on the fastball-curveball combination. He goes to the fastball 48% of the time, the curveball 41% of the time, and Turner mashes both of those pitches. The fastball, you're looking to about a 92 to 93 mile-an-hour fastball on average, and Justin Turner mashes that pitch. A 333 ISO with a 401 WOBA, as well as a 77.42 hard contact percentage. And the curveball is not an issue either because Turner mashes that as well with a 321 ISO, a 386 WOBA. Love this spot for Justin Turner. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Justin Turner, get him in your lineups. I think he's going to be well worth the price tag tonight. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.